Namaste. Oh, I am so excited about today's topic because it is about self-love. And I know many people equate self-love with self-care. But what if I told you self-love isn't just about treating yourself kindly and with compassion? There's a different way to look at it. So if you're interested in this, I hope that you will stick around because I'm going to be telling you about a new way that you can define self-love that really goes a lot deeper than you may think. And if this is your first time joining us, I am Gloria Grace, the Light Messenger and Holistic Business Guide. And the idea for today's episode came to me during a journaling session I was doing recently. And we'll get back to that in a moment. But first, I thought we would start off by talking about some common myths about self-love, because there are quite a few. I'm going to go over just 3 of them right now, because if you Google myths of self-love, you'll find all sorts of things and all sorts of different opinions as well. And I'm going to stick with the most common ones right now. So the most common is that self-love is selfish. That if you love yourself somehow, that this is, you are being selfish, you are not caring about other people. And when you are focusing only on yourself. And I will tell you that is not the case, because when you are loving yourself, it's similar to when you put the mask on an airplane, when the oxygen goes out of the plane and you need to be able to take care of somebody else, you've got to take care of yourself first. So self-love is not selfish. It's about loving yourself, taking care of yourself so that you are able to care for the people you love. And we're going to come back to this concept again a little bit. But another related myth is that self-love is a form of vanity, or it means you're being narcissistic. Again, kind of similar to selfishness. It sort of goes hand in hand. Narcissism, yes, okay, there we go. I did pronounce it correctly. Narcissism is defined as excessive interest in one's self or physical appearance. So I can see where some people would think, oh, if you're just focusing in on loving yourself, that means that you're only focusing in on yourself. And again, it's not that, because self-love is really about, again, it's about taking care of yourself. It's about showing yourself kindness, showing yourself compassion, having compassion for yourself. Here's an example. I want to make this into practical terms. So as women entrepreneurs, and as women in general, oftentimes we are caregivers, whether it's caregiving for our family, whether it's caring for our clients. We are the ones who are, whatever your profession, but oftentimes we are called upon to take care of other people. And again, as I mentioned just moments ago about the concept about the oxygen mask, the best way you're going to be able to take care of people is when you are fully rested, when you are at your best. Of course, sometimes you have to, push comes to shove, you might have to take care of somebody even when you're not feeling your best. And it's still important to still do as much as you can to take care of yourself, to nurture yourself, so that you can give your all to that other person. Now, someone who is a narcissist, on the other hand, because they are so focused on themselves, they're the ones who are really being selfish, because they're always in, what's in it for me? What are you going to do for me? and they're more about taking from other people. So self-love really is about giving, whereas being a narcissist is taking. I hope that's clear. I hope you get that. And of course, I've been talking about this a little bit too, in that self-love is the same as self-care. They're related, but self-care is how you demonstrate self-love. And it is now it's not necessarily about getting a massage, although those are lovely. And I haven't had one myself in months, and I would love to do that. I have a gift certificate that I think my son gave me for my birthday or something, and I still haven't used it. I will one of these days. But self-care is eating right. It is taking care of your body. It's getting exercise. It's getting rest. And when you engage in self-care activities like that, and maybe it's also nourishing and nurturing your mind, your body, your spirit, all of that. It's learning. It could be meditation, all of these things. When you practice those types of self-care activities, that is how you demonstrate that you love yourself. And I'm going to share an example from my own life of how I didn't do that in the past. And why, even though I see people saying that, oh, self-love self-love itself is wrong, or we shouldn't be focusing so much on this. But I will tell you is that when you don't love yourself, what happens is that you don't treat yourself well. And so in my life, I have pretty much since I was a little kid, because I even remember writing in my diary how much I weighed, so that I was always concerned that I was too fat. Well, and actually, now that I think about it, I know that there were boys who picked on me and called me fatso or something like that. And because my self-esteem was not the greatest, even as a little kid, it hurt my feelings. And instead of proving them wrong and losing the weight and being, strong and thin and fit, I actually did the opposite and would stuff my feelings with food. And it became this self-fulfilling prophecy. And over the years, I've let's see, I don't even know how many hundreds of pounds I've put on and taken off over the years of different diets and all these wonderful things that I've done. And if you have been if you're a regular subscriber to this podcast and you watch the videos on YouTube in particular, you have probably noticed even over the last 4 years that I've been doing this podcast that my face has filled out and then it's gotten thin again. And that's because I put on the weight and then I take it off again. So this has been something that I have been dealing with my entire life. And I finally got some help this past August, from a hypnotist, actually, who really helped me see that I had internalized a belief about myself as a child that was not serving me. And since that happened, and I was able to really love my inner child, love myself, that I haven't had any problems anymore with food. And I've been able to, so far as of the recording of this podcast, I have shed 23 pounds, I think, something like that, and still have a ways to go. My point with all this is that self-love is important, and it goes deeper. And so that's what I want to get to now. I want to get to what I've discovered. So part of what in my journey of learning how to not only practice self-care, to be able to start eating better and exercising regularly, to love myself. When I wrote my book, Live, Love, Engage, this The book came about because of a meditation I was going through, and I was told to write this book about love, and love was an acronym. And I've done a lot of different, I've done previous episodes about this, but I'll just tell you briefly, especially if you're new. Oh, thank you. Someone commented. Thank you, Pepper. But I appreciate that. So yeah, so the love method, the L stands for let go and let God, and that's really about letting go of shame, letting go of limiting beliefs, and letting God into your life, letting God help you, and however you think of God too. I was raised Catholic, and even though I'm not a practicing Catholic anymore, God is still how I refer to source, the universe, higher self, whatever words you want to use. But anyway, that's what it means to me. The O is open your heart to receive, and that's to receive love from other people. And we're going to come back to that in a minute too. The V is to value your uniqueness. And the E is to embrace your divinity, to realize that you are a child of God, you are a part of God, and to embrace that. And this is where I'm coming to this different definition of self-love, because as I was journaling the other day, the message came through that self-love is not just about loving yourself, our lovely human persona that we have. It's actually about your higher self, God, source, the universe, whatever, loving you. And and that's where we come back to the O in the love method, was opening your heart to receive not just love from other people, but love from God, love from your higher self, to receive that and to acknowledge it, and to know that your higher self loves you, warts and all, as they say, the light and the shadow, your human frailties, and that amazing soul that you have as well. And this just came to me right before I went on air today to record this. Then it's also about showing love. It's self-love is loving your higher self as well. So it's a give and take. It's accepting love from God and then showing love to God. And this is interesting because, again, I was reading, in preparing for today's episode, I was reading an article where someone was saying this notion that you have to love yourself first in order to love other people because of the way it's written in the Bible. Um, love one another as you love yourself. And this person was saying, well, that's not exactly what Jesus meant. And that's where people get into this idea of self-love. It's all about me, 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 me. I agree with that to a point, in that I still think loving your little self, shall we say, loving your human part of you, loving your ego is important. And knowing, though, that we all have this other part of us, we are all part of God. And to be able to then know that self-love is about loving that part of ourselves and to receive love from that part of ourselves. Because when I'm getting emotional, that's interesting. When you can embrace your divinity and realize that you are part of this amazing universe, that you are part of God, and that we are all connected, that is then how you can love other people as yourself, because you're loving other people as God, because they are all part of God as well. So when we can all realize that we are all one, we are all connected. Oh a lot of the strife and war and prejudice and all of these things that are going on in the world will melt away when we can accept one another as God, when we can see the light of God in not only in ourselves, but in everyone else. That's the true miracle that will create heaven right here on earth. Whew. Okay. How do we do this? I promised when I was promoting this on LinkedIn and on YouTube that I would give you some practical steps to do this. So how do we not only love our small self, but also our bigger, higher self, this God within us, our divinity? How do we do that? It starts with getting to know your higher self. You've got to be able to, in order to do this, you've got to develop a relationship with God. So, however that works for you, there are lots of different ways that people can do this. You can meditate, you can pray, you can journal. I do all three of those things. And then as you're doing that, listen. Listen for what your higher self has to say. And that is truly going to be the way for you to be able to start to love your higher self and to receive love from your higher self. Because think about it, when you're just in a relationship with any other person, you have to get to know them first. I know there are TV shows that talk about, marrying someone that you just met, but let's get real. Okay, that doesn't happen very often. Let's just say you're making friends with someone. Let's say you want to make a friend. You ask them questions. You tell them a little bit about yourself. You find out a little bit about them. So I invite you to do the same, to have a dialogue with your inner higher self and to ask for advice, to ask them what you need to know. In fact, I just completed a wonderful course with Mike Dooley, and there was another Mike, and I don't remember his last name, but it was about learning how to do intuitive writing, to do intuitive journaling. And I'm totally messing up the name of the course as well. But it was really all about this getting to be able to connect with your higher self, to connect with all sorts of even spirit guides and angels and archangels and things like this. But it was through that process that it helped me to deepen my connection with source, with God. And I love the idea of journaling. I think it's a really powerful way. But again, meditation, uh, prayer, whatever works for you. And then the other thing, though, another practical step is again to treat yourself with respect and kindness and compassion and acceptance, and treat others the same way. There's that wonderful, the golden rule: treat others as you would have them treat you. Well, if you want to be seen as a loving, kind, compassionate person, then you have to demonstrate that as well to other people. And I know that can be challenging sometimes because there are certain people who rub you the wrong way, for instance, and they may even be people in your immediate family. And I'm going to challenge you to love them anyway. You don't necessarily have to engage with them on a regular basis. You don't have to get into a confrontation, but you can certainly send them love any time of the day or night. And the more love that you will be able to show, the more love that you're going to receive. Frankly, it's as simple as that. Yeah, that's it. I really believe that the more love you send in the world, that the more love is going to come back to you. And it starts with loving yourself. but loving, as I say, both your ego self, love that inner child of yours, but also to love the God in you, love that divine spark, to show God how much you love what God has done for you, into just bringing you here on this planet right now in this amazing, crazy time that we live in, that's also very exciting and challenging. And you came here for a reason. And even whether you know what that reason is or not, one thing that you can do if you desire more happiness, more love, more inner peace, is to practice that in your own life. Show that to yourself, and then show that to other people. And then again, as I say, more will come back to you. What do you think? What do you think of this definition? Do you agree with me? And if you do, great. If not, that's okay too. It doesn't matter to me. But I would love to know. So you can, I would love a comment if you're watching this on, whether you're watching this on social media right now or you're listening to this, you can go to the show notes, go to my live, love, engage podcast.com, and you'll be able to leave a comment, or go to my website. You can go to Gloria Grace Rand, RAND.com, and contact me through there. You can also, if you would love to even just have a conversation about this, you can go to engagewithgloria.com, and that takes you right to my calendar. Let's chat. It's not a sales call. This is just a conversation. And I would love to have a conversation with you about self-love and what do you think about it? And are you practicing it in your own life? And do you need some support with it? So let me know. And before we close out today's episode, I want to share one other thing with you, which is another practice that I have engaged in, that also, I should say, in addition to meditation, prayer, and journaling, that has also helped me to connect with Source in a much deeper way. And it's something that I am very passionate about, wanting to help other people experience it. And eventually I want to start encouraging people to do it for themselves as well. But this is something that I do. It's called, where I share light language, which is a channeled communication from Source, from God, from angels, archangels. And it is a method of communication that I speak and sing that speaks to your soul. And so it's not necessarily something that you're going to be able to translate. I don't even translate it. I get ideas about what the theme is, especially when I'm working with clients. But today, when I'm doing group sessions like this, what I do is I just set an intention that the message that comes through will be for not only my soul's highest good, of course, but for your soul's highest good. And what I would invite you to do before I start this is, if you are watching this or listening to it where you're also doing something like driving a car, I would encourage you to come back and listen to this later, where you can be just sitting down comfortably, feet on the floor, and be able to give yourself a few minutes of listening time to really tune in and allow the message to really touch your soul and to help you to connect better with your higher self. And I would encourage you to just do that right now, to maybe take a deep breath in, let it out, close your eyes if you like. And again, that's what I'm going to be doing, is setting the intention. I ask that this message that comes through today will be for everyone's highest good. 𝗁𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 𝗁𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀 𝗀𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 𝗲𝗲𝗃𝗲𝗃 𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 𝗁𝗃𝗃 𝗃𝗃 𝗂𝗃𝗃 Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope that you are, if this is your first time checking us out, I hope you will subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe on YouTube at Gloria Grace Rand and ring the bell so you'll be notified when future episodes come out. I do share my solo episodes come out on Fridays, and then I also have an interview episode that comes out on Tuesdays, at least for 2023. That's going to be maybe changing a little bit in 2024. Thank you for being with me. I'm so grateful. And again, I would love to hear your comments, what you thought of today's episode, what you thought about self-love, what's your definition? If you have a different definition, let me know. I'm curious. So until next time, I always end these episodes by encouraging you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.